Happy morning, dear friends. Here's yours, Dr. Rajanta. Welcome to Demystify with Ajay. Today we are in tutorial 12 on data science and machine learning series. This session is all about functions. So let me just start with the basic functions. And dear friends, a function is a reusable piece of code that is only run when it is called. A function have inputs and they usually return an output. And see here, dear friends, for an example, if we are just using a Python here and how you are just taking or defining a function that takes two inputs and return the sum of it. Okay, let I just take this as an example. Okay, so this is what the add up is the function, and it's just going to have two attributes as an input attributes, and yeah, it is going to return the sum of that two input attributes. So what I just going to do is let me just make this definition as an initiation, and let me just call the function by making use of this code. See here, this is the exact add up, is the exact name of the function, and here we are just giving the value of the attributes x and y. And what is the exact result? Yeah, it is going to sum up the x value and y value, and here is our result. Okay, now how we are just going to make it further? See here, dear friends. So here we are just going to create a function that will return the second element of a list if it is existing. If it is existing. So here we want to know, yeah, it is the list that has more than one value. So that is what the one we have to verify. So here, let me just create first a function. Okay, what is it is a get second element. And see here, dear friends, this is what you are just going to give a list of integers as the parameter. And once for all, if it is released, so it just to check for the length of that list which is inputted. And kindly just know it has to be greater than 1. So the exact element, it has to be greater than 1. So if it's so, what is my second value? What is my second value? You are just accessing by using the index of that element. And see here, dear friends, if it is not greater than 1, that is if it has only one element, so it don't have the second element. So there what you have to get as a result is list was too small. So what is the exact definition of this function is it is going to get a list from the user, and it just going to check whether the list is more than one or not. That is, it has to have more than one element, and if it's so, it just know the exact second element, which is going to be the forthcoming element or the index of the one. And see here, if it is not existing, it is going to have the print as like this. So let me execute this. And the second step is, yeah, we are just going to input, that is, we are just going to give the exact list as an input. And yeah, let me just see here, this is the second one, that is 2 is the second element. Yeah, let me just check it with the lower of it. So see here, only if I just give only one element, so what it has to be returning is, yeah, the list was too small. So that is the exact result it has to appear. Yeah, here it is. And see here, dear friends, defining function in a cell can be difficult as the cell is not optimized for editing multiple lines of code or blocks. So it is preferable for our function to live inside a Python script. So previous session we have just discussed related how a script has to be, and if it's so it is a module, how you have to import it as a script or to that of module, and to get utilize the call of that function. So here So this is the exact code. You can just write it separately as a text editor, and you can just save it in the manner of a script or anything with the file name multiply.py. Okay, what it has happening is, so this is the exact list, sorry, this is the exact function, and what you are just going to call is, kindly just have a note of it. So this is the exact function. So here I'm just going to provide the list, and yeah, here obviously we are just going to have our result is equal to 1, because it is going to have more than one thing. Second one, as if it is not going to multiply it with 0 if it is existing, so it just multiply with the number which is just going to have it is in the list one. So, and last it just returns the list. So let me just make use of this code as the function, and here it is what my two set of instructions. My two set of instruction, one I have to have the list product, and in that list product I just want to know how to call the function and make use of it, and what are all the there in our list. And see, this is the exact multiply of 2 into 3. And when just going for the next one, it is 2 into 10 into 15. So that is what here we are just getting the value of 300. Okay, fine, dear friends. Let me just move on to some more technical functionality. So, positional argument. The preceding example have all included position argument. Exactly, dear friends. So, let me just take it the example that I just want to add up two variables. So, here I have just provided the x and y. So if I just want to make use of that add up functionality, I want to return some value. What is that returning? It is here, it is of x plus y. So the obviously we just able to identify, yeah, this is a sum of that two number which we are just providing. So here it is going to return it. But in the meanwhile, what I'm just going to check is, let me just make the function without any arguments or also, and see here, dear friends, sorry, here let me just make that functionality to be worked. See here, so 2 into 3 here it is 6, and 2 into 10 into 15 here it just comes as 300. And the next function it just going to make without any arguments, so it just going to execute it. Okay, and here what is the exact time and date, the each and everything, it is according to the system time and date. Okay, next comes the keyword argument. Dear friends, keyword arguments are also known as named argument, which are optional input to the functions, but these arguments have a default value that is taken when the function is called without the keyword argument specified. So let me just see it with an example, dear friends. Kindly have a note of it. So see, this is the exact function which we are just defining, an add suffix function that takes an optional keyword argument. Okay, so when we just may specify it as a suffix argument, kindly just have a note of it. See here, dear friends, so here this is the exact function add suffix, and what it has to come for suffix, that is, it is a .com. So if it's so, it is a .com, so it has to return google.com. And if you want to add that suffix to be the exact user information, and it has to be executed, yeah, here it is. So let me just execute this, and kindly just have a note of it. When we call that function without, even though without any parameter, yeah, it has an already it has an parameter of .com, just it is going to return it with google plus suffix. So here how the output is google.com. And kindly have a note of it, dear friends. Now we are just going to have a lot in the URL where it is just going to have .co.uk. And let me just see how our output is. Yeah, this is what. Fine. Now let me just move on to the next exercise, dear friends. Actually, here I just want to add up with some of the functions with position and keyword arguments. So let me just make use of that function. And yeah, same as to that of previous only, but here we are just making use of arguments, keyword argument. And see here, dear friends. So I just want to convert the USD to AUD functions, it just takes a positional argument and an optional keyword argument. And here how we are just going to make is, I just want to make use of this function. Let me define the function, and if I just calling the function by using any values, so see here it is what convert USD to AUD, and see as for this amount I'm just providing the 100, and here it is defaultly as rate is equal to 0.75. And when on producting, that is with multiplying the both values, yeah, here is our answer. So this exact functions without specifying the even exchange rate, it is not specified. And even though we are just getting the exact answer according to the user input. So the rule of thumb is to simply use positional argument for required inputs that must be provided each time the function is called, and keyword arguments for professional, or it is actually an optional input. And see here, dear friends, you would have already come across something which we just specify, that is KW args. See, actually, this is a function that accepts a mysterious looking argument, which we just specify KW args. And see here, dear friends, so this exact function which allows the function to accept any keyword argument when it called, and these can be accessed in a directional dictionary, which we just call it KW args. So typically this is used when you want to pass arguments through to another function. So how we are just going to do is kindly have a look of it. So this is the exact function which you are just going to have the amount and the rate, which is 0.75. And here I just want to return the result. And what is the result computation? Here it is specified as amount by rate, and here the exact amount it is received from the user, and here we are having a default of value 0.75. So let I just execute this. And yeah, dear friends, we are going for the exact template how you are just going to make use of it. And see here, dear friends, the convert and sum list, that is the exact function name, and which it didn't need the rate argument. Even though here it is provided as rate is equal to 0.5, it is not much important, because it is simply needed to pass it through to the function, which is we just say convert and sum list function. And imagine that instead of one argument you can have 10 that needed to be passed through. So there will be a lot of unnecessary codes. So instead you will use the KW args dictionary. Let me just make use of this and execute. So here how our data has been there, and for this we have just included the rate, and here it is our output calculation. Let us just execute this. Okay, so here it is our script. Even though you can just make use of some command prompt that you can just call, but here I just skipped it, and let me just move on to the next function. See here, dear friends, next it is the iterative function, and previously we just seen the exact function which just make use of the existing data, and mainly it just going to have, even though if the rate it is not provided, yeah, it will execute. And to the same here, we are just going to make use of the for loop for making the iteration, and next it just exists quit the exact program by making the call of the function. So here let me just make use it. So for I in range of 5 and print I. So see here how this exact range is accepted as the input towards the I element, and this print I, it is just keep on iterating and it print 0 to 4. So totally it has 5 elements. And yeah, dear friends, kindly have a look of it. We are just going to have a simple functions with a loop. And see, in this actually in this exact program, how we are just going to do is we are just going to sum the number. Okay, so sum first n number. So for an example, if you are just going for first n number, if I just give 10, yeah, from the beginning of 1 it is just going to add till n, that is 10 number. And here if I just give any number to be there, I just keep on adding it and I'm just going to result it with the exact computation. So see here, dear friends, this is the exact function, and here I'm just calling the function as I need it, and here it is just verifying that the exact 100, that is first 100 numbers I have to receive it, and I have to make it the sum up of. So here it is the result when you just make use of 100 element to be done for iteration. Okay, next let me just move on to the existing early. Existing early is in the sense, actually, dear friends, you can exit the function at any point during the iteration. For an instant, if you are just might want the function to return a value once a certain condition is reached or condition is met, yeah, you need the exact termination. Okay, so let me just make use of this function and we just move on to the existing early method. So see here, dear friends, here we are just going to create a function that checks whether a certain number x is prime or not. And the function does this by looping through all the numbers from 12 to x. So that is what we are just going to provide. Till which number do you want? And the function does this by looping through all the numbers from 2 to till x and check whether x is divisible by it. So if it finds a number that x is divisible by, the iteration will stop and return false, as it has ascertained that x is not prime number. So this is how we are having the exact function. And if you want to check for any values in the sense, yeah, if you're just providing, yeah, from 0 to 1 or 0 to 100, if you want to include the first prime number of 100 prime number, yeah, you can just identify. And yeah, if anything is there in the first 7 number of the exact value, whether anything is prime or not. So here it just gives the false. Okay, dear friends, so we have just seen and we have implemented a code that checks whether the x is a variable in prime number or not, and we have just crossed looping through numbers, and in that case whether it is divisible or if it is exists, the loop and provide the output as false. So today is the exact day of this. Till now we have just discussed related to the function, and yeah, we are just going to have one more part under the functions. Okay, hope I think you just like this session. Kindly take an opportunity to subscribe the channel and never miss any updates. Thank you, dear friends. Have a nice day.